That was interesting.
Yeah, I was in the middle of it.
That was
It wasn't like I was in the middle of
move.
saying something.
I literally said we're gonna start recording now. I literally said that. That's what I said. Those are the words I said. And then I put a video as to say anything you say from here on out for the next 30 seconds, it won't incriminate you because you have 30 seconds to catch yourself as your son in his underwear dances behind you.
Such is life, brother.
Such is life, man. This is the life we live.
Hey, Nary, you're gonna make fun of me, man, but I just tried to share this thing and I posted it to the Geekmore
Of course
page.
you did. Of course you did.
Okay, right there. Resident old guy.
Let's all look at Dave in our perspective squares like we would, like the fucking Brady Bunch. Like Andy, old guy.
Hang on,
And Grandpa Joe.
I'm gonna fix it. Okay.
All right, so I just shared it to my Facebook. All right. Oh, did I do it? I don't even know if I did it. Shit. I did it, and then as I was, I don't know. Did I? Who knows? 4 shares. So
I'm glad we started this and interrupted my statement for the.
should be good. All right, turn off the thing in the back because you could hear the video. Whoever that is.
That was me by accident. Of course.
God damn it, Dave.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome to the Mt.Geekmore podcast, your favorite podcast where you come to listen to people talk, debate, and argue over their favorite top 4, Mount Rushmore, if you will, of their favorite pop culture subject. Today's pop culture subject, as you can tell by looking at your Facebook or your YouTube, whichever one you're watching us live on, or your listening device if you're listening to us a week after we record, is the Mount Rushmore of robots / cyborgs / whatever, etc.
Androids
in movies. So
Such etc.
etc. So thank you guys for checking us out. I am Nary Signs. It's been a couple of weeks since we've been recording the episode of Geekmore. With me as usual is Debona.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
All right, and we got David Ulloa.
Howdy.
And we got Jeff.
What's up?
Deuces. Thank you guys for checking us out. We're live. If you guys are listening to the audio version, just know you could be watching us live on Facebook or Instagram. I'm sorry, Facebook or YouTube. And as you comment,
well, not anymore. I mean, if you're listening to it, as a podcast, you can't watch us live anymore.
Well,
it's
next time around.
Yeah.
I literally was about to say you could.
When will then be now? Soon.
We're running Tooth or Amarillo these days.
All right. So as I was saying, you could literally watch us live next time we record on Instagram. I'm sorry, on Facebook or YouTube. Just go to our Facebook channel, which is facebook.com/MtGeekmore. Same goes for YouTube. Subscribe to both of those channels, and whenever we're live, you get a notification, and then you can tell us how dumb our picks are live.
Yeah.
All right. Hopefully, we get some people watching. But it's gonna be a lot of fun. So going down the list, what?
Whiskey.
I'll say what? How did you guys come up with your selections?
Whoa, why'd you go green, Neri?
Oh, sorry. Was it green now?
Just because you have a Peaky Blinders hat on doesn't mean you're going green.
That hat is definite Peaky Blinders vibes.
Yeah.
This is my Newsies hat. Working on a song.
Extra.
The war's over.
The war will be over, sir.
Henry Ford brings out Model T.
You can get them in any color that's black.
I know. Give me a hat. I need a hat. I'm gonna get a hat because I didn't know we were wearing hats today.
Oh, I got one for you. Hang on a second. Here you go. Take it.
How great would it be? How great would it be?
Oh, wait. Damn it! If I would have waited a couple seconds more.
If you would have waited a second more, those hats almost matched enough that we could have pulled that off.
Let's do it again. All right, Jeff. Here you go. Here you go, buddy. Whoa.
Hey.
Did you like my little sound?
How great would it have been if we were able to do the crossing the lines over like they did in that movie? What's it called?
Oh, you mean like the handing the stuff over?
No, like you know how they do a split screen? They did it in that movie that mocked The Exorcist. I forget what it was called with Leslie.
Scary movie?
No.
It wasn't Scary Movie, but it was like in the vein of Scary Movies.
But it was way before.
Yeah.
And it actually had Linda Hamilton, whatever the fuck her name is.
Blair.
Linda Blair, yeah. And Leslie, the guy from Naked Gun is
Leslie Nielsen.
He is on a phone call with
one of the greats.
He's on a phone call with the mom, which is Blair. He's on a phone call with her, and then they're doing a split screen, and then he goes, "Okay, I'm on my way," and he leaves.
Oh,
he forgets to hang up the phone, and Linda Blair crosses over the fucking split screen and picks up the phone and hangs up the phone because he forgot it.
The movie is called Repossessed.
There it is. Yep.
Yeah, it's really fucking good. It's a long way.
I've never seen this. I need to watch it.
Beatty also.
Dude, it's fan.
Oh, nice.
Fucking tastic.
I actually
squeal like a pig in that
before
one?
I saw The Exorcist.
Really?
Yeah, like it was one of those things where I just kind of like stumbled into it, and I was like, I had no idea what was going on.
Like, this is not as funny.
Why are you guys laughing? She's spitting up green shit.
Right.
They didn't do that with a crucifix in the other one.
No.
Oh, God. All right, so Debona, how did you come up with your selection, man?
So this is the toughest time I've had making a list, I think, since Dystopian Futures. I had a really big list, so I started kind of adding a bunch of extra rules for myself. I didn't do any cyborgs. All of mine are completely artificial. And I also made sure that they're like one individual robot. So don't say anything you've got, but like the spider bots for Minority Report, I was like, no, that's just like a type of robot. Like I was looking for individual robots that were, and I also did add a caveat that they had to be sentient. So that removed a couple that I had towards the end. But it was tough for me. And I'm going to be honest with you. I still have an open spot on my list that is going to be a game time decision.
Yep.
Debona, that's me. Dave, how did you come up with your selection?
So I didn't go quite as deep as Debona did. My one caveat was it had to have an inorganic brain. So it had to have like a CPU or some sort of cybernetic brain thing going on. It couldn't have a brain that had any sort of like traditional sorry, still getting over the Rona. Any sort of
the audience, he's not joking.
Right? Yeah. I am negative. We tested. I'm negative, and I got the antibodies, so I am Superman right now. I mean, I don't look like Superman.
Superman, bro.
Emphysema Superman.
I can go to a park bench and lick it all I want right now and not get the Rona.
No, not get the Rona.
I'll get some other shit.
Chlamydia.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How'd you get chlamydia? Oh, interesting story. That was my only thing. Just no human brain, no human thought. Had to be a CPU in there.
Oh, does that mean we're not talking about Blade Runner today?
No. Well, I mean, the replicants would count. Replicants would count, even though they have like organic
I'm like,
skin.
when I saw this topic, I was like, okay, so we're talking about Blade Runner again. This is getting discussed.
Point. Has a point. All right. Jeff, how did you come up with your selection?
I'm still not done. But I've got a long list here. But there was, when we initially decided the topic, there's one pick that immediately popped in my head that kind of goes against Debona's first statement about not having groups. But this is the first character, and I'll explain it because I consider them one whole unit, that popped into my head. And it hasn't changed from my list. Even looking at all the other kind of robots and stuff like that, this group did not get off my list. So, but I realized I think a lot of my stuff is pre-2000. I don't think I really have anything. I might have one that's past 2000, but I think most of it's older movies. So yeah.
All right. Yeah, I don't have a lot of problem with this list. Some of these guys in the chat today, to the listeners, some of these guys in the chat today were coming up with their own rules. They're like, and no, none of this allowed and none of that allowed. I'm like, no, I'm allowing all of that shit. I'm going for all of yeah, I don't give a fuck. It's fine with me. Like I don't know. It wasn't as like I've said in many episodes in the past, and we've done quite a few. These are one of those things where look, there's gonna be a lot left out, and there's gonna be so there's no real perfect list, and there's no real bad list because you're gonna have things, inevitably you're gonna have things that you wish you would have put in, but you can't. We can only have 4. Them the rules, man. Them the rules. So with that said, let's get it going, man. I've been trying to fix the situation with the sound effect. So for the live audience, there will be no live. Oh, we got a couple. Patrick says, "Hey guys, good to catch you live. Much love. Thank you, Patrick." And he says, "I've been a big fan of Nerd for years, but I've recently, in the past month, gotten into his podcast. Now it's time to listen for enjoy." Thanks, man. Appreciate it, Patrick. Means a lot to me, and to the guys, I'm sure. But thank you very much, man. That means a lot.
Certainly.
Okay, so we're gonna start off with where are we at now? We're at 12 minutes. We seem to make it about 12 minutes before we get into the intros. All right, so 12 minutes. 12 minutes. All right. Let's start off with our number 4s. I don't like the bono here. Let's put. There we go. Let's put. I like starting off with Dave. Dave usually goes first. He usually starts singing.
We talk
You're
about
right.
that after.
You're right. That's okay. This does feel like the normal rotation. I'm good.
Yeah, this is about right. Dave, what did you got for your number 4, man?
Okay, so my number 4 is from I think a movie that does not get enough love. It's a movie called Turbo Kid. And
nice.
there's two amazing robots in this movie, androids, whatever you want to call them. But Apple, the sort of pseudo friendship love interest of Turbo Kid, is just one of the most endearing androids that you will ever see in a movie. You immediately fall in love with her. Like, she is just so amazing. She is like there are in this world, you find out that there are different kinds of robots. It's in an alternate 1997 kind of Mad Max style, where the world has gone through some sort of nuclear holocaust, and prior to that we had crazy technology where we had these sort of Jetson style robots that you can purchase for yourself. And she is a friendship model, and that is what she provides for the kid, who has been living on his own since he was like 4 or 5 years old. And so he's immediately like taken aback by how totally open she is. One of the things that I looked for in my picks was how these seemingly emotionless beings could learn how it is to be human, and how not that they mimic it. I guess there is a sense of mimicry there, but learn to appreciate companionship on some degree. And I think Apple truly does, in her own way, however it is that it works in her cybernetic brain. She does love the kid, and you see it throughout the entire movie, and he comes to love her too. And it is a weird sort of relationship, because it's oddly platonic, yet you can tell that there's a little bit of the romantic there. And I think that the actress, I think her name is Laurence LaBeouf. She brings such amazing energy to this role. It's very easy to play a robot as emotionless and dry, and it is not that at all. This was actually the reason why I even suggested this mountain, because I rewatched Turbo Kid for like the fifth or sixth time, and I was like, God damn, I fucking love Apple so much. She's amazing. So there you go.
I like this pick a lot because this movie is fresh on my mind, because you mentioned this in the group chat a couple weeks back. I forget what led to it, and I thought you were talking about Astro Boy, and I realized I realized I'd never seen Turbo Kid. So I watched it very recently, and I absolutely agree that Apple is the better of the two picks. I like that a lot, man.
So which is the name of the robot?
Apple.
From where?
Turbo Kid.
I've never seen this movie.
And then, well, Turbo Kid's one of those like indie, weird, crazy, just bloody gore fest. And then you have like, that's the thing. What I love about Apple is that she's like this innocence that's kind of just in the middle of all this craziness.
Yeah, the movie is a weird combination of like E.T. meets Goonies meets Mad Max, but with this like Friday the 13th quality gore. It's really weird. Like I know that I would put this on for Link and he would have a fantastic time, except for the fucking gore. Like it's so over the top, like this is a perfect kids movie. There's so much nostalgia to it, except for the fact that like there's heads flying off and so much blood and guts everywhere. But that's part of the appeal of the movie too, is that it is so over the top, and that is part of the nostalgia.
Quick question: what was the first movie that you guys saw as kids that was clearly like that, like balls to the wall, not really a kids movie? Because I remember watching Commando pretty fucking young.
Yeah, I saw Commando young.
I saw Commando probably at 7, 8 years old. I was watching Commando, and I mean on loop. That shit was on loop. So, like, it's so weird how we were like back then. It was like, oh yeah, whatever. I saw Hamburger University at 6 years old. If you've never seen Hamburger University, it's like Porky's. It's like the poor man's Porky's. Like so much nudity, and I was
that's
like,
another one. Porky's.
I was 6 when I saw Born on the 4th of July.
Oh wow, that's pretty heavy.
But as far as like being traumatized by like the gore and something, I was 12 when I saw The Exorcist and didn't know what I was getting myself into to bring that full circle.
I think I remember watching RoboCop really young.
I saw that young too.
I really young.
I'm just astonished at the fact that we as parents care more than our parents did. They were like, just fucking let him watch it. He's fine.
Builds character.
Yeah. There was never a meeting. There was never a PTA meeting like our child has watched something that's violent at Jimmy's house. Like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
All right. So Apple from Turbo Kid. All right. The Bona, what do you got for your number 4?
My number 4 is one that I am fully prepared to get shit on for, because generally not even considered to be the best robot in its universe. However, it is my favorite, not only robot in this universe, but my favorite character from this damn universe. And it's absolutely ridiculous. That's why it's my number 4. My number 4 is C-3PO. C-3PO is
you're not gonna get shit, man.
My favorite Star Wars character.
There's the shit.
Say you can't set me up. I'm gonna get that shit, and then
I'm with it. But no, C-3PO I think is an excellent character. I think that C-3PO does as much, if not more, to humanize the Star Wars saga than a lot of other characters do, than almost any other character. C-3PO is an anchor through all 9 movies. he's somebody who's always there. He's witnessed it all. Doesn't necessarily remember it all at the end, but he's there to screw up and to cause the problems. He's there to fix the problems. He's comedic relief. He's a guy who annoys you so bad, but you can never not acknowledge how important he is to the overall scheme of everything. I love his inflated self of importance while also being very self-deprecating in the way that he talks. I love that he knows that he's the shit, but also he's very pessimistic about everything. Like voice of reason, like there's aliens and there's spaceships and there's the Force and there's lightsabers, and then there's this robot who's like, by the way, guys, we're still fucked, like all the time. Like that's just his thing. Thank you, Patrick. Yes. There's something about C-3PO that speaks to me on just this amazing level. And it was during the last trilogy and maybe even episode 9 when I was finally like, you know what? I'm just ready to admit that C-3PO is my favorite Star Wars character. I love the way he's always in the way, but always part of the solution. And when it all came down to it, at the very end, he was a major key in solving everything. Yeah. And so I think that he got the most complete story arc out of everybody. I think that there was potential for other people to get great story arcs. And what we ended up with was C-3PO getting this incredible, just through the 9 movies, not including comic books and extended universe and all that. Through the 9 movies, I think we ended up with C-3PO getting the most complete arc. And that absolutely blows my mind. I think he's a fantastic character. Probably makes me laugh more than anyone else in the movies. And I love him. I just absolutely love C-3PO. As soon as we decided on this one, this was one of the 2 that I knew was 100% going to make my list. So yeah, my number 4 is C-3PO.
Right. I specifically left Star Wars droids off my my mountain because it just would have been impossible to pick with them.
The only reason I was capable of doing it is because, like I said, he's not just my favorite droid; he's my favorite character.
Yeah, I get that. I kind of realized a couple years ago after I did a marathon, one of many marathons of all the Star Wars movies, that I kind of grew up thinking that R2 was like the droid, right? And then I realized, like, man, all of the humor is actually coming from 3PO. He's playing the straight man to this,
yeah,
and he's giving you the jokes.
Wait, it took you this long to realize that the guy that only does beeps and bops is not the one doing the actual jokes?
Well,
we're not all professional comedians, Neary. Some of us have got to learn how it works.
You don't have to be a master of 60,000 languages, 60,000 forms of communication to understand. Like, you can't.
It never occurred to me because the one that was doing the
interpretation is him.
The interpretation is him, and I just always assumed, like, oh, that was R2 being funny. And when I finally, like, opened my eyes, and I stopped looking, or I stopped thinking 3PO is just the annoying one. I'm like, no, 3PO is the funny one. I get it now.
I'm in the minority.
I don't know why it took me that long to figure it out.
I'm in the minority, and again, and I'm gonna I'm gonna put this to the fact that I wasn't a Star Wars fan as a kid. But whenever I heard C-3PO, I was like, what the fuck is he saying? Like, I don't understand what the fuck. Are we supposed to fucking know what he's saying? Like, it was that kind of like confusion. Same thing with Chewbacca. When Chewie talks, I'm like, how am I supposed to know what the fuck he's like?
Oh, you mean R2?
Oh, you mean R2 when you hear R2.
Right.
Yeah.
When R2's doing his beeps and bops, I'm like, what the fuck? I don't how am I supposed to? And then people laugh and people are like, oh, R2. And I'm like, no, R2. You don't know what the fuck he said. So stupid. I felt that for a long time. I'm not the big R2 fan. I'm not a big R2 D2 fan for that reason. I'm like, I don't understand what he's saying. I don't understand what BB-8 is saying, but he has little fucking gestures that he could do, that he literally has like a lighter and he does that shit, that you can understand that.
He has more personality than R2 does.
Yeah. So anyways, with that said, Solid pick. Time's up on that one. Jeff, what do you got for your number 4?
All right, so my number 4 is the one that immediately popped into my head the moment we thought about this mountain. And my number 4 is the group of robots from Batteries Not Included.
Correct.
The Fix-Its! They're called the
Fix-Its.
Fix-Its! Yes! I texted Dave today and I was like, I'm not going to have room for the Fix-Its and it's painful. Yes!
But at least we get to talk about it.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
which they do have names. The two big ones, their names were not said in the movie, but I did look it up because I knew that they were named. It was Kilowatt and Carmen. And then the old lady gives the kids the names, the Weems, Jet Sam, and Flotsam.
Yes.
I rewatched this movie today.
That movie's heartbreaking, man.
It's great. It's an amazing movie. And what I love about these robots is that they just come out of nowhere. They happen to just show up and they don't talk. Before WALL-E ever came out, before anything like that came out, they didn't say anything, but they had so much personality just from and the CGI. Even, I mean, there's some that it's rough, some of the shots, but it still wasn't bad for the time. And I just love that
Better
these
than
little
Justice League.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But I just love how they show up, and I mean, this is the first time I think that I realized that robots could procreate. Was in this movie because they give birth to the 3 little robots. One's a stillborn, which is like really intense.
Oh my God! It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible how much they convey with the Fix-Its and Batteries Not Included. Oh God, I'm so glad you don't understand how happy this makes me.
And I just love how they come and it's that typical trope from all the 80s and 90s movies of the big bad corporation that's coming to pick on the little guy, and then it's not this big hero person that comes to help them. These two little flying saucer robots that help solve all their problems. And it doesn't help solve all their problems, but it also brings light to some of their problems, because like the older woman, that she has dementia and she thinks her son's still alive, that dies in a car crash years ago, and because of the series of events she finally comes to terms with it. These robots do more for these people with not out saying a word and bringing them together and making them really see themselves. They have that guy that's the boxer that never said a word, that he was the superintendent, and because of the little stillborn robot which I think that was Flotsam, that he brings him to life. And it changes him. He starts talking, he starts interacting, I just love that these robots didn't have to say a word and they changed all these people's lives.
I didn't appreciate the fact that they took carpentry work from the Hispanic people. That's the Latinos problem. They lay tile better than us, and they did it for a cheaper rate. And I don't appreciate that shit. Then take our jobs.
Even though the Latino's the bad guy in this one, but one of the Latinos, because the other one's that chick from I think it was not New York Undercover. I can't remember where she was from now.
Carmen.
Also, this is probably the first of what I'm assuming is going to be 2 Brad Bird movies that show up at some point in today's episode. Brad Bird was a co-writer on the screenplay for Batteries Not Included.
Was he?
Yes.
That explains a lot about the heart of that movie.
Doesn't it? Because then, like I said, I don't want to spoil what may or may not be on somebody's list later. But yes, there's a lot of elements of Batteries Not Included that I believe will probably show up later in the episode.
All right. Cool beans.
So the fix spot.
Let's see. Got you. The fix spots.
The Fix-Its.
Or Fix It.
I would just call them Batteries Not Included, bro.
There you go.
But I told Neri, I was like, listen, I know that there are 5 different robots, but I feel they're one unit in the whole thing.
I'm with it, dude. Like I said, the only reason I had to make that rule for me was to just kind of eliminate. They made the short list.
Yeah.
All right. My number 5 is Steven Seagal in Exit Wounds. His acting is so robotic.
So robotic.
Or Steven Seagal in anything he's done, really. Anything he's fucking
any
done.
single movie he's done.
Every single movie he's done.
You know, the one where he was an Eskimo?
Yeah.
On Deadly Ground.
On Deadly
Yes,
Ground.
On
sir.
Deadly Ground. That's
Yes,
it.
sir. That he had that frizzled jacket.
He's been let's check this out. He's been a white guy, he's been an Eskimo, and he's been a Native American, because there was another movie where he was a Native American. And I was like, no, but he's none of these. Like, he's white. Like, he's a white dude, right?
And never,
He's just
never
barely
once
that,
was he
honestly.
never once was he an actor. All that time. the damnedest thing.
Bravo, David. Bravo.
All right.
Take that, Steven Seagal.
Take that. Even though you could probably still beat me up. So,
Yeah, still.
Yeah, but you have to come at him.
Yeah, that is true.
Here's a secret to beating Steven Seagal. You stay away, and then if you have to fight him fist to fist, you could just go for his legs. He doesn't move his legs, so just keep going for his legs.
You just got every guy in those movies. It was like, here's a gun. Nah.
Put him up. Put him up. Put him up. My number 4 is actually the robot from Rocky 4.
Oh,
Happy
fuck.
birthday,
I knew
Polly.
this was going to make your list.
Happy birthday, Polly. No, I'm fucking kidding. Of course not.
I legit
Your
thought it was
hat
going to
says
make your
different.
list.
Your hat's telling you different.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Polly.
The fact that he's being edited out of the fucking director's cut is really disheartening.
Really?
I kind of love it.
Ollie or the robot?
Same?
No, just the robot.
No, the robot. Just the
Because
robot.
apparently, Brocky himself never actually wanted it. They were cashing in on Jinx.
Oh.
That's not the story I read originally. The original
that
story I
makes
read
sense,
is that robot was helping a lot of kids with autism, and his own kid had autism. So he had a personal connection. That's a story I read years ago.
Oh, see, I had read that the reason that the new version doesn't have him is because Sylvester Stallone never wanted him, and this new version is the Stallone cut.
Yeah, no, I know this version of Stallone. I'm just saying, for years I was like,
Oh.
"Oh, that's cool that he included the robot because of an autistic tie-in." Like, I thought that's what it was, and then now it's like, no, that story's bullshit. All right, no, my actual number 4 is I'm making a cut right now.
You've just been vamping while you finish your list. You sly son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Vamping with comedy. My number 5 is Baymax.
5?
You got a number 5, bro?
I'm sorry,
Doing
number
5?
4. Number 4.
Man, if we can do number 5,
Whoa.
Baymax is my number 5.
Can we do 17?
Oh, Baymax.
You just go through my list.
What's your Appalachian Mountain Ridge? Give it-
This one pained me not to put it on the mountain.
I'm surprised you don't have it on your mountain.
yeah,
Honorable
Baymax.
mention.
Yeah.
And if you want to know why I put Baymax on my list, just everything, copy and paste that everything that Dave said about his number 4, about Apple, and about being the heart, and about being taken care of, and it's being friendship to this kid. Yeah, just copy and paste it. Everything I said that he said about Apple to Baymax. But I never saw. I'm imagining now that movie is what's that movie called again?
Turbo
Turbo Kid.
Turbo Kid is like Baymax,
Big-
just with
Big Hero 6.
Yeah.
Big Hero 6, just with
More-
decapitating heads.
Yeah.
Sure, I'll give you that.
So I imagine that's how I imagine it. Anyways, so Baymax is my number 4. I love Baymax. When he comes home with low battery, and then that drunk scene is just just fucking best.
God, man, just that the whole moment when like the AI that is Baymax is torn between. Oh yeah, Mike Mercadal pointed out right there. Absolutely, that news just went live today.
There was a meme that it
Baymax
shows.
is Big
There
Hero
was a
6
meme
coming
that
to
it
the
shows.
MCU.
There was a meme that it shows Winter Soldier, and like it's like, hey, here, take this, it'll make you feel better. And you see Baymax, and he just looks at me, he's like, Thanks, Baymax. Thanks. And they're like, that's the cameo. That's gonna be the cameo.
So Baymax and Big Hero 6, the news. I didn't know this. The news broke
Yeah.
out today that he may be coming to the MCU.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
like it's official. Like Baymax and the Big Hero 6 crew are now part of the MCU. Like how they're going to play in, we don't know yet. But Big Hero 6 is now officially an MCU movie.
Mhm.
I mean, it wasn't Stan Lee the whole thing. I mean,
And that's the thing, like because Sam Fuyokyo doesn't exist in the MCU, but so the characters, so that movie may not be canon, but the characters are supposed to be showing up at some point.
So what if their cheesy way of getting around that is the Avengers at one point are watching Big Hero 6 on a big screen TV?
Or what if one of the multiverses that is in the palm of our hands includes Sam Fuyokyo?
Yes.
So
I'd rather them watch it on TV. Watch it on TV.
But
Baymax vision.
the scene where the core of Baymax is torn between what Hero had programmed and what the younger kid's name is slipping from me right now.
No, Hero's the
Hero's the younger kid. Tadashi's the older.
Tadashi, yeah. So when he's torn between what Hero and Tadashi have programmed, right, between like knowing karate and being able to fight and just being the first aid robot, that scene will forever absolutely destroy me. Like it's just so good to see like him gain that bit where he's fully aware that this is against everything that he was originally programmed to do. I really like this pick. I didn't go anything animated, and so I had slid this down into honorable mentions.
Yeah. So I just love the way he asked him. Was like, will finding this guy, will killing him, will that make you feel better? Like he's just, and he
had to justify it as a first
such a great scene.
He doesn't know what he's asking. He's asking like, hey, I'm built to make you feel better. So will that make you feel better? But it's kind of one of those things where you ask somebody like, is it though? Is it? And he's stop to think about it, like, will this make me feel better? So I rather enjoy this movie. My kids and I have been doing fa la 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 for years.
Me and my son still do that exact fist bump all the time. Like that's if I ask for something, it goes blah, blah, blah. That's how we do it every time.
Imagine how different of a movie it would be if Hero's like, yeah, no, I want him dead. Turbo Kid.
All right, so the number 4 is let me write down mine because I didn't even write down mine. All right. I like the fact that Dave legitimately was like, no, I thought I was gonna be the Rocky IV robot.
I was not surprised. I was not surprised.
I honestly thought you were being truthful too. I was like, yep, on brand.
No, so you know what? I didn't like the fact that she changed her personality. At first, she was just like really good robot, and then she was like all sexy, like make a fucking pick up lane. All right, so the number 4
was it Goldberg's where they went to the club where that robot was like serving drinks?
Goldberg's?
Yes.
Yes, there was an episode of Goldberg's where like the uncle who drove the DeLorean came into town, right? And he took.
So the number 4 is our Apple from Turbo Kid, C-3PO from every Star Wars movie ever, the robots from Batteries Not Included, and Baymax from Big Hero 6. All right. Number 3, Dave, what's your number 3?
I am going to keep the Disney train going, and I'm going to go WALL-E. WALL-E
is disgusted at you.
She's not even the best robot in that movie.
That's why I'm making that face.
But Eve? Are you saying Eve?
Yes, I'm saying Evie is a better robot
the
than
fat
WALL-E.
captain. Yes.
The wheelchair bot.
Fucking fire extinguisher is a better character in my opinion, but whatever. Who am I, right?
Listen, I mean, it's I wouldn't disagree with Eve, but WALL-E is the one that captured my heart, and I have never felt so attached to a character that never said a word in a movie before, you know, and I don't watch the movie often. Because when I do, I just become like a wet blubbery mess.
It's emotionally tolling.
It's a taxing movie, but there is so much heart in Wally, and that moment towards the end of the movie when it seems like Wally is gone and he's just back to being, this recycling robot that he was programmed to be, and the years, seemingly hundreds of years of deprogramming that's gone on with him that made him the robot that we love is gone. I mean, that's such a heartbreaking moment when I see him start picking up the trash and making the next little cube. It breaks me every time. And the moment that he springs back to life, I just break down again because I'm so happy that he's back. It's there's something about him. He's got like a Johnny Five thing going on with the face, but he's like more compact. So he's like a hobbit. So he's cute and you want to like hold him, and just everything about him, from the fact that like he just wants to hold hands with Eve and oh man, I love this guy. When Disney World brought out the oh yeah, right there. Yep. Mike Merkeldahl says the fire extinguisher dance scene with Eve is one of the greatest scenes on film. I agree.
Well, because they ripped it from another great dance scene, which is Dancing in the Rain. They just ripped that scene.
Yeah,
it's like
but with robots.
I'm not. I'm just saying, when you copy a great scene, you're gonna get a great scene. It's like, hey, that photocopy of that exact document is an amazing. Yeah, it's the same. Okay, all right.
It's an homage. Yeah. It's an homage. Right. It's not a copy.
Thievery.
Wally, man.
Yeah,
Wally.
no, I absolutely get the reasons that you're giving. Like I said, the reason I wanted to pick Wally is because I think that Evie's the better character. But I respect everything you're saying about Wally. The funny thing about this movie for me is the first time I watched it, I did not like it at all. And like I couldn't put my finger on what it was. There was just, and then I realized the reason I didn't like this movie at first is because everything about it made me think so much and was so emotional. And if I wasn't constantly thinking about like the state of the world, then I was emotional. And it was one of those things where the first time I watched it, I was like, shit, man, I was trying to escape. Like I didn't need all of this thrown in my face right away. That's a movie that has become way better for me on rewatches.
Yeah,
it's a little preachy.
Yeah,
it is. It's a movie with a message, and it doesn't hide that message at all. But the homages to classic musicals, like you were saying, Neri, and to 2001: A Space Odyssey. These are part of what the movie is like unapologetic about, and I feel it's all the better for it. And I think that the movie serves as a vehicle to show us Wally and Eve together as these amazing characters. It really is just a sandbox for them to play in, and it's it's simple. It's a little preachy, and the characters are awesome.
All right. All right. So we got Wally. DeBono, what do you got for your number 3?
My number 3 is the one that I have been torn between two different characters for a while now. And I'm just going to go ahead and pull the trigger on this one. This is my most on-brand pick. My number 3 is Ultron from Age of Ultron. And okay.
That actually was my number 3.
Oh, right.
And just to note, because Dave said it, I also decided not to put Star Wars droids on, just because I could have like a mountain of 8 droids.
You could do a Star Wars of mountain droids for each trilogy.
The old Star Wars of mountain droids.
Yeah. Star Wars of mountain droids.
All right.
The one drinking bourbon?
Yeah, I know. Seriously. No, he drank enough yesterday.
Oh boy.
All right, Jeff, what do you got?
Ultron.
Oh, okay, that's right. You did say that. I was supposed to be paying attention the whole fucking time. My bad, my bad.
All good, dog.
My number. I'm gonna make a decision now. My number 3 is the T1000. I'm just gonna, I can't go against what I feel. It's how I feel.
No, you can't.
T1000 is one of the greatest Terminators of all time. It's not. I actually don't believe it's a better Terminator than the ones that came after it. The Terminator in
The TX.
The TX is
we get it. The new one's Latino. That's what you care about. I get it.
Well, yeah,
that Rev 9 is fucking badass.
Yeah.
Also, one of them is Summer Glau. So.
Oh, the TV show. Yes,
TV,
you're right.
That's right. The CV. Sorry.
Yeah.
But the
Table.
What was the model from part 3? What was that model?
TX is the TX.
The TX was better than the T1000, and then the one in the new movie, which was the
Rev 9.
Rev 9.
Yeah.
I think the Rev 9. The problem with the reason why I didn't pick the Rev 9 because I really wanted to pick it. I felt like it was just too impossible. It was like it could split up into 2. I was like, oh no, fuck you. Now you're a dick. Now I mean, it's kind of one of those
now you're a dick.
Yeah. It's kind of like one of those things when you're playing video games with your friends. It's kind of like one of those things. You ever play Madden with one of your friends and they're winning by 15 or they're winning by 3 touchdowns, and then they do a fucking fake field goal to score another touchdown, and you go, come on, bro. Like, now you're being a dick now. Like there's no fucking reason for it. You're already up 3 scores. That's how I felt the Rev 9 is like, you're already this amazing fucking machine, and all of a sudden now you split into 2. You're like, oh, you're just a dick. But the T1000 was the one that I fell in love with the first. That was the first one that I remember watching that movie with my mouth open, like jaw, like fucking just, oh my god, like everything he can do, the bullets going inside, the wobbly shit when the
oh my god, when he goes through the windshield, man, like that, like for all the things in that movie, like when there's the hole in the windshield and he just like creeps through it. That's what always sticks out in my mind.
Yeah,
to me, it's the impalement with the milk carton.
Oh yeah, good too. Yeah,
I love when he comes out of the floor, dude.
Oh yeah,
when he comes out
when
of
he's
the
like
floor,
black and white checkerboard or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, look at that full house.
So for T1000, man, I mean, there's what can I say about the Terminator franchise that Dave hasn't said in 64 other episodes? What can I possibly say?
Plus, he's still got 2 picks left.
Mike says Neri just likes going around dressed as a cop asking people, have you seen this boy? Well, have you? So yeah, man, I love that. I love all the Terminators. I gotta be honest with you. I love all the Terminators. They each have their own thing, and I'm very impressed with all of them. But the T1000 was the one that, as a kid, I mean, maybe that's just nostalgia.
Cameron magic, man. It's that Cameron.
100%.
Yeah. All right, so that's the T1000. So our number 3s were Wally, Ultron, T1000. All right, moving on.
2.
Hey, we got a sound effect for that one.
Dose, the sequel to Uno.
All right. Yeah, the number 2s and 1s have been programmed to the board for a year, so I haven't moved them. So the problem is adding new ones on. That's the problem that I'm having. And by new ones, I mean changing, exchanging. All right. So number 2s. Dave, what is your number dose?
Okay, so I've been going back and forth on what to put at my number 1 and what to put at my number 2. So I have to make a decision now. And fuck.
Let's see if I'm right. Let's see if I'm right.
All right, my number 2. Let's talk some more about Brad Bird, the Iron Giant.
There it is.
That's also my number 2.
Is it? Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Also rewatched this movie today. It was a really emotional day for me. Batteries not included. Iron Giant.
The Iron Giant was a movie that I saw quite a bit as a kid, and even though like it got to me as a kid, it didn't quite get to me as much as when I started watching it as an adult. I watched it as a parent with my son. I put it on for him, and it's like, oh my God, when the giant says Superman, The fucking last line
Oh my
that
God.
he speaks at the end of the movie. I'm getting fucking like verklempt
Yeah,
right now just
son
thinking
of a
about
bitch.
it.
I'm like,
Yeah, I don't think there is a robot in cinema that gets to me the way that he does. There's just something about him that
Wouldn't that be your
is
number one then?
well.
Yeah. That's a good point. That's an excellent
There's
point.
not another robot in
There's
movie.
another robot in cinema, except my number one.
Well, let me do the T1000 finger wag for you there. You're missing out on a factor called awesomeness. So yeah, I mean, but yeah, I mean, as far as like the
I get
emotional,
Yeah.
emotionally, no other robot in cinema brings out the emotion in me like he does. There's such a purity to him that I think is only rivaled by Wall-E on my list. And
well, it's funny because that's what the wallpaper is. The wallpaper to this episode. I don't know if I can.
is it?
Yeah, I can see the Iron
I
Giant
don't
in the
see
back.
it.
Yeah.
There's his eyeball.
His
Oh,
eyeball's right in the middle there.
All right. Yes, this is a movie where every time I watch it, doesn't matter how many times I've seen it, I still fall in love with the Iron Giant over again, and he continues to break my heart every time. He is more human and more selfless and more caring than any other character in that movie, and almost any other character in any other movie.
Yeah. No, yeah, so this was like also my number. This was also my number two. There's something rewatching it today. I mean, I hadn't seen it in years, so there was a lot of stuff I didn't remember. But there's like little scenes like when he's first in the barn, and he brings him the comic books, all the books, and he's like, "Oh, look, there's this one and Mad magazine," and he goes, "Oh, and look, this is Superman. He's a hero. That's what you should be." And then you see him like move the comic, and you see the comic of the evil robot from the villain destroying the planet, and you see his eyes change, and he focuses. He's like, no, he's the bad guy. You don't want to be the bad guy.
And he's learning.
Yes, Mike, you stay. Fuck you, Vin Diesel. Yes, because that build up, and then the voiceover right before the line that Dave said, where it's like you can be anything that you choose to be.
Oh yeah,
that's the callback to what Harry Connick Jr. tells him in the scrapyard.
Yeah,
and then he says the Superman, and he closes his eyes as the missiles come. He does like the Jax from Sons of Anarchy. If anybody watched the end of Sons of Anarchy,
you know what he's thinking about. He's thinking about Hogarth. Mm-hmm. You know, he's thinking about all these people that he's just like, to him, they are his friends. He loves them. Right. If a robot is capable of love, the Iron Giant accomplished it.
And he knows what he is.
Is it weird that Vin Diesel conveys emotion better
his voice,
with just his voice than he does with his entire rest of his body?
This is an exact conversation I had with my wife when we were talking about Iron Giant. She asked who was going to make my list, and I said no. She was like, "It's Vin Diesel." I was like, "Yeah, he's Groot too." She was like, "Oh, I didn't realize that." I was like, "Yeah." Like when it comes to just saying like a couple of things, everybody's like really into Vin Diesel.
Oh my God, Vin!
He's great when somebody else can act out the 3 lines that he says. It's fantastic. When he needs to act out the fucking 3 lines, he's like, "Oh, this guy's fucking."
They're like, just give him a Corona.
Don't talk. You don't talk about family like that. That's not how we talk about
familia.
Family. La familia.
Or when like 70% of the movie is in darkness.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And Mike put a comment. It's true. You're correct, Mike. Jax did the Iron Giant. You're right.
But that's the timer. We're done with this. We're done with that pick.
We had a little extra time though, because
if it's 2 of us, do we get a little bit more time?
That's true. We do. We are supposed to put it to 7 minutes. All right. So
you were supposed to. So that's it. We're done. Okay.
No. I was gonna say what I was gonna talk about.
I was supposed to put it in 7 minutes, but I didn't. So fuck you.
Yeah. So my era. Go fuck yourself.
My era means everybody loses. Let's go. Talking about Iron Giant. Look, man. I gotta be honest with you. I'm not like I like the I like visually. I like the Iron Giant. This movie doesn't bring any of that emotion that it does to you guys to me. Like I'm not, and I'm a pussy. Like I cry at everything. It just doesn't do it. And I'm gonna be completely honest. I haven't like sat down and actually watched the entire movie since I was a kid. But I remember watching the movie and I liked it. It was fine. Like it was cool. It was whatever. To me, the Iron Giant itself, like the stature and the design of the Iron Giant, to me is what I love. Like all this emotional backstory, all this emotional stuff that gets to you guys. I want to like join in. I want to be like, oh, I want to feel those things. I want to feel those feelings. But I've never gotten that from the Iron Giant. And again, maybe it's because I haven't watched it since I was a kid. But as a kid, I was just like, he's a big fucking robot and he likes Superman. I like Superman. Who's fucking cool?
That's kind of exactly where I landed on it. Iron Giant ended up not making my list because it's just been I could honestly tell you I've not rewatched Iron Giant in the past 20 plus years.
I think it might make my list because I saw it today. And I guess now that even though it has no real effect, I'm a dad. It has nothing to do with the story of Iron Giant per se. But seeing it now, I was like, holy crap. Like,
I would argue that being a father does play into it somehow, because the Giant certainly fulfills that fatherly role that is missing in Hogarth's life. And he doesn't do it intentionally, but he is that for Hogarth. Right. Hogarth looks at him as this stand-in for a father, and
I did that with Harry Connick Jr.'s character more so than
there's that too. There is that too. So I mean, there are father figures in the movie, so you do become, I think, more emotionally invested after becoming a parent, and I think that's part of what makes the sacrifice at the end of the movie ultimately more meaningful for me now. Before it was sad. Now it's like it destroys me because I know that I would do that for my son. And so to see that on screen done by a robot who should not be able to feel any of these things, and in fact is fighting the programming that has been put into him this entire time. It's just to me that movie is nothing short of animated perfection. From a technical standpoint, the animation is gorgeous, but also the acting, the writing, the music, everything about it that is animated perfection for me.
Shooter McGavin's the bad guy.
Yes.
I want to go. I try to rewatch this movie again after Ready Player One. I try to show it to the kids, and the kids just didn't give a fuck about this movie. They just like moved on, and I was like, all right, like I did.
Yeah, because you showed them Ready Player One, where the Iron Giant's fighting Godzilla.
I did not.
Godzilla,
First of all, I did not show them Ready Player One. What kind of fucking psycho dad do you think I am? Like, here, watch The Shining. Why don't you? No, after I watched Ready Player One, I then wanted to show them
what kind of psycho dad am I?
Psychotic.
Wait, I was not supposed to show my kids The Shining?
Yeah.
All right, so that's number 3 for that's number two. I'm sorry, for David and Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
DeBona, what do you got for your number 2?
My number 2, I was torn between 2 characters from the same franchise. I'm making the decision right now, and I'm going with Bishop from Aliens.
It was him or Ash, right?
Both of them were honorable mentions. Actually, I was torn between Bishop and David.
Yeah.
No, fuck Ash, right? No, Ash can fuck right off.
Ash doesn't conform to any of Asimov's laws of robotics.
Okay. But
he's not a well-written robot. I love that first movie in the trilogy in the series. I think it's the best one. But Ash is not a good robot.
I agree. And so, so I was torn between David and Bishop, but I got to go with Bishop from Aliens, the second one, if you're unfamiliar with the Alien franchise. It was such a great role and such a great character to come off of Alien, where you've got Ripley, who doesn't trust androids because of Ash. And Bishop understands that. And in the way that when we very first started, David said something about the androids, the robots in the movie, learning to be human. we watch that happen with Bishop. Like when Ripley first shows up in Aliens, Bishop is just the guy who kind of pilots the ship and makes sure they don't run into stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's exactly what he's been programmed for. But you watch him slowly kind of learn humanity and the knife game and everything, where he's learning how to just fuck around with the boys, right?
Yeah.
Like, just look what I can do because it's cool. And plus, just an amazing performance by Lance Henriksen. And so it's just, it was great to watch, to the point that at the end, I guess we're going to spoil it. Aliens is super old, whatever. He's willing to sacrifice himself just to save Newt. And you see this this goes back to like my C-3PO. It's a very complete arc that we get out of Bishop, the character. And yes, David in Prometheus has a very good arc, and it was right there with it till the very end. But I think that Bishop laid the groundwork for what became a great character later. It's an amazing performance. It's a lot of fun to watch. He's not in the movie a ton, but when he's there, that's who you watch.
Mm-hmm.
Your eyes are drawn to Bishop. He has all of your attention. When he talks, you listen. Everything he says in that movie is so important, and even has a little bit part in Aliens 3 with recovering the black box and everything like that. So he's a fantastic character, portrayed beautifully by his actor, and it was one of the first times I remember watching a movie that had an android and legitimately being upset that he died. So often you watch a movie that's got a robot or an android and it doesn't really matter because they're a robot. Yeah, there's plenty of times when we do care. But Aliens was one of the first time when, oh my God, Patrick just mentioned TikTok over here in the comment.
We're going to get to the honorable mentions.
Okay, I'm sorry, but that just caught my eye. But there's so many times when an android or robot dies, and even if it's a sacrifice, you're like, well, of course, that's what they're going to do. That's what they're programmed to do. But when Bishop sacrificed himself to save Newt, it felt personal. It no longer felt like it was just because he was programmed to protect at all costs. It felt like he had genuinely learned to love Ripley and Newt, and putting his life on the line was what the right thing to do was, and that's why he did it. Not just because he was programmed for humans above self. And that is what ultimately put Bishop into this spot for me.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's my favorite aspect of him. He mentions early on in the movie that he likes to volunteer for these sorts of missions, and I think that he feels he has some sort of compunction to protect humans, to try to do as much as he can for them. I think he truly feels for them.
Yes,
that his purpose in life is to ensure that that humans suffer as little as possible, and that comes off. And I think that what's most amazing about that is that Ripley understands that by the end of the movie.
Yes.
And she brings like his torso along,
Yeah,
like that's an incredible moment where, like, she has this this bias, against androids, obviously, because Ash is such a fucking dick. And then she likewise learns that, it's you have to take each individual, on his own.
Yeah.
All right.
Fantastic.
All right. Wrapped it up quite nicely with a little bow there on top. 5 minutes is up. All right. So then we have that was Bishop from Aliens, and Jeff had Iron Giant. So my number 2, we can talk about it now, is Ultron.
Okay.
Very first of all, we've talked about this in our private chat, but I've said this for a long time. I feel like Age of Ultron is a very underrated movie. It gets shitted on. I think it's a far superior film than the original Avengers. I like so much more things about it, and none of which I are to say anything else other than, on top of that list that I like, there's a whole list of things that I like that I love about Age of Ultron. But then you have fucking Ultron with Spader as being an amazing. I'm sorry, I mispronounced his name. Robert California.
I'm the fucking Lizard King.
Ultron. I fucking love this casting. It was a fantastic casting. Bravo. I think the MCU does a lot of great casting. But I don't think that this specific casting gets enough attention because this specific movie doesn't get enough attention, I don't think. But Spader as Ultron is just perfect. It's perfection. When he gets angry, I fucking love that. When he tears off this dude's hand or his arm.
Oh, a claw. When he tears off Ulysses' claws.
Yeah. And then he's like, oh, I'm sorry. I get, you know what? It's not your fault. I just get upset. And I'll go ahead and put more money into your account. Like, he's just one of those.
Yeah,
like, it's just fucking perfect, man. And I don't know. I'm just a huge fan. I think Ultron was done perfectly. I think it was done well. The fact that they used Tony's robots against him just makes it even that much better. You know,
when Red Reddington starts talking, like, it's just like he gives Ultron this just suaveness.
Yeah.
That it's just like you don't realize, if you close your eyes and you hear him talk, you don't think you're listening to a robot.
Right.
He gives it this emotion, he gives it this personality, which it doesn't really, because he really doesn't have a quote unquote personality. He's always monotone in his deliveries for the most part. He's always very like he does it in a very just linear tone, but you get these different emotions from him.
There's a sense of sarcasm.
Yeah,
I love
him.
The sense of sarcasm, and I love the
he's on the throne.
Like, the sense of eye rolling when he's like they're sitting on like the greatest, one of the greatest materials in the universe, and they made a frisbee out of it. They made a disc or a shield out of it, whatever the fuck he says, whatever the phrasing is, and the sarcasm is just fucking fantastic, you know. Like he knows that he's so much better than humans. He's like, ugh, these fucking things.
Mm-hmm.
I love that movie a lot, man, and I love the fact that Captain America went toe to toe with him. He fucking just, you know, on top of that truck or in that truck.
Oh yeah, it's just it's. You're absolutely right in the fact that it's so perfectly cast. Like when you look at the Marvel movies and you look at, you know, the trope is always about bad guys monologuing, and yet they've still managed to take that trope and turn it into something that we thirst for, right? Like you're excited when Loki's going to start talking. You're excited when Thanos is telling a story. But man, when James Spader comes through as Ultron and he's just fucking talking about how terrible the world is, and he's got this completely objective view, you know, and he's just looking at everything purely as black and white. It's a Rorschach-esque like view of the world because he's brand new, right? And just like down to his very last moment when he's toe to toe with Vision. And I forget exactly what he says, but it's something along the lines of like, you know that they're terrible and they will destroy you, right? And you know, Vision comes back with something quirky like I was just born yesterday or whatever, right? Like he's got the joke, but that with his dying breath, he wasn't sorry for anything he did. He didn't regret anything he did. He still found every bit of logic in every choice he made, to the point that the very last thing he did was try to convince the one person who could probably destroy him that he was right. Mm-hmm. And that is what gets me. I just recently, like we were talking about, David and I both recently getting over Corona. When I was sick with it, I rewatched all the Avengers movies. And man, Age of Ultron, I remember when it came out, you were saying it kind of, unfairly gets shit on. And when it first came out, I never shit on it, but I was like, it wasn't great, right? Every rewatch of Age of Ultron, I like it more and more. And just rewatching within the past few weeks, I was like, oh my God, this was so perfectly done. And I think that one of my biggest problems initially was that he was so different than Ultron in the comics. But that was just origin story wise. Like once you actually get into what makes Ultron, he's so perfectly done. And like I said, just that whole there's right and there's wrong. There's good, there's bad, there's black, there's white. And just viewing the world from that and never relenting. Mm-hmm. Never relenting. You're right. He learned emotion. He tore Ulysses' Claw's arm off because he got upset. He learned emotion. And even after that, he still never backed down from what he thought the world.
What he got upset about was being compared to Tony Stark.
Right.
That's so fucking great. Like, oh shit, sorry. I'm sorry. My bad.
Yeah, and it's just it was just he's so great, and like I said, just in that perfect villain monologue role. Every time he talks, it's that whole 5 sit down, a 10 is talking, right? Like Ultron's talking.
Right.
Shut up.
Yeah.
This is a dude that you listen to.
Yep.
And I couldn't get away from it when it was all said and done. It's absolutely the newest pick on my list, but he had to make it. It was just so well done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right.
The only reason why I didn't put Ultron or Vision, for that matter, on my list is the same reason I didn't put Data from Star Trek on my list, and it's because they didn't originate in a movie, and that kind of helped me eliminate a whole bunch of picks. So
See,
just wanted to be clear on that.
Because
Ultron did not originate in a movie.
Yeah, he originated in comics.
Okay.
But see, with me, the thing with Data was, Dave, I just started. I had never really watched all of Next Generation, and I've been watching it now for the first time, and I love him, but I haven't. I never watched the movies after watching those. I just watched the movies because it was a movie.
Right.
Now I can appreciate him more. So I don't know how he is in the movie because I haven't watched it since I haven't finished the show yet.
Yeah.
But once we do the TV show. Yeah,
he's fantastic.
Yeah.
But it's not the sort of thing like when we were doing Federal Agents and I left off Dale Cooper from Twin Peaks because the one film he was in, Fire Walk with Me, left something to be desired. Data is fantastic in all 4 of the Next Generation movies, but he originates in a TV show.
The only movies that I've seen from Star Trek, the first one I ever saw was Nemesis, which he was
every time it makes my blood boil.
It's not my fault. Don't fucking blame me. Anyways, all right, let's go to honorable mentions real quick. Let's go to Mike Mercadal. If you're listening to us, we're going through the comments that people are commenting either on Facebook or on YouTube. Mike Mercadal's list is his number 1 is R2D2. His number 2 is Wally. Number 3 is Johnny 5. Number 4 is Agent Smith. It's pretty impressive. All right.
Agent Smith is debatable because he's just AI. His physical form was an actual human.
Or T1000 if he doesn't count. Honorable mention to the Unicorn, the Transformers movie.
That's Unicron.
I know. I said what I said.
Not so much.
The Good Robots Us's from Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, and Ultron, but only when it's lines from Robert California. Fucking A, man.
And he just said something else, which I agree with 100%. Add the computer from Galaxy Quest. Yes. Yes, Mike. Yes.
All right. And then we have Patrick, who says, my top picks have been mentioned, but a couple of honorable mentions are TikTok from Return to Oz.
Such a great movie. Patrick, I respect you so much for even referencing Return to Oz. It is one of the best movies that nobody talks about being a great movie ever.
And Gigolo Joe from Artificial Intelligence.
Gigolo Joe, bro.
Gigolo Joe's
amazing as a character.
Such a great role.
Any dude that wants to hook up and fuck, I'm down, man. I mean, not any dude.
What?
Character.
Whoa! Any dude is DTF.
I can relate to that character is what I meant.
What's the timestamp on that?
Sure. It's a minute 12 or an hour 12.
And Patrick, so Patrick says Return to Oz was extremely dark and shouldn't have been considered a kid's movie. For example, Dorothy was getting shock therapy at the very beginning of the movie. What's also amazing about Return to Oz is while she's getting that shock therapy at the beginning, all of the noises that happen in that 3-minute opening scene play heavily into who the characters are. Like the Wheelers in Return to Oz are directly related to the sound of the wheels on the bed that they're rolling her into the shock therapy. It's a very deep and twisted movie that it will blow your mind if you sit down as an adult to watch it.
Yeah. All right. So honorable mentions, David. What do you got for your honorable mentions?
All right. The ones that we haven't mentioned, Roy Batty from Blade Runner, Necron 99, who is later reprogrammed and named Peace in one of the most amazing animated movies of all time, Wizards, written and directed by Ralph Bakshi. Let's go. Robbie the Robot from Forbidden Planet.
Forbidden Planet.
Yeah, just one of the most iconic robots of all time. Dot Matrix from
Baseballs.
From Spaceballs. Thank you. Let's go. Tarzan Case from Interstellar.
Oh my God! I completely forgot about Tarzan Case.
Yeah, the fact that you can adjust their humor level, their comedy level, is just outstanding. And these are not humanoid at all. So this is like just on the total other end of the spectrum.
The Bono?
And Bob from
what do you got? What do you got left?
Black Hole.
What do you got?
Okay. I've got Ava from Ex Machina. She was not a major character, but she was a driving force. Machina Mensch or Maria from from Metropolis. David and I had this conversation. Iconic, right? And set the way that robots were going to look in movies for decades, but didn't actually do much in the movies. Machina Mensch or Maria from the movie Metropolis.
Oh, okay.
And
so influential.
Yes, yeah, very influential through history, but not great in the movie.
Not you can't put it in the top four.
Optimus Prime, which it's my love for the cartoon, and this is the one I just had to throw in there. The Jaegers from Pacific Rim. I just all of them. It's the one that I had to put out there as a.
Was I right? Was there one with a flail? I remember
yes,
there was
something Prime. But yes, you're absolutely right. There was one with the flail.
Optimus Prime.
Unicorn.
But yeah, and, I mean, Crimson Typhoon, Gypsy Danger, just Pacific Rim, man. I love to get drunk and watch Pacific Rim. I just do.
That's the only way I could watch that movie again.
It's so great though when you're drinking.
Jeff, what do you got for honorable mentions?
I'm throwing out. She got bumped off the mountain. Alita, Battle Angel.
Beautiful.
I disagree with Mike Mercadal in that those are not the best robots in Bill and Ted's trilogy. It is Dennis Caleb McCoy from Bill and Ted Save the Universe.
Yeah,
or Save the Music.
They're so good. That movie was so underrated, dude.
Yeah. But Dennis Caleb McCoy was amazing. I remember Neri and I were texting each other about that after he had seen it for like ever. I have the Banana Splits from the Banana Splits movie.
That was so good. And those robots were fucking killer.
Just a couple more near him since he had 50 million. Crow T Robot and Tom Servo from Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Nice.
The Mechagodzilla, since nobody mentioned Mechagodzilla because he was awesome. And then the Fembots from Austin Powers.
Yes.
Also, I'm going to throw out there real quick, Adam from Real Steel and Bubo from Clash of the Titans.
Yes, Bubo.
Mercadal goes 2020 didn't deserve Bill and Ted Save the Music. You're right, Mike. That movie was so underrated. I love that movie.
My honorable mentions, I'm sorry, are I had Optimus Prime on there. RoboCop, missed it by that much. In fact, RoboCop was gonna make the list.
I thought for sure you'd have RoboCop. Man.
I love RoboCop. He was gonna make the list, but then I thought about Ultron, and I was like, oh fuck, Ultron's really great. So there's that, and then Bruce Willis and Death Wish.
Paris Hilton in that one video.
That great comeback story.
I may own that on DVD.
DVD? You spent money on that shit when the internet existed?
It was a burn. It was a burn.
No, man, I own it right here.
Also, Grimlock from Transformers 5.
Grimlock.
From Transformers 5, not even like the good Grimlock. Okay.
He was only in that one movie. He was only
wasn't he in the animaid one?
Of course, he was in the good one.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, the good one was the.
Let's not stop it because
I just said that.
Our heads are gonna explode.
Why you guys disagree with me? I just said he was only in that one good movie.
One more I just remembered. One more I just remembered. Marvin the Paranoid Robot from Hitchhiker's Guide to the
Hitchhiker's Guide to
Galaxy.
the Galaxy. Shit, yeah, that's a good one.
I'm just thinking, move on because I'm going to keep thinking.
And then Sonny from iRobot. I fucking love
Yes.
Sonny from iRobot. I thought he was fantastic and he was great. That wink that he does to fucking portray the guy was fucking brutal. So yeah, that's it. Who do we got here? Andrew Chacon chimed in and said, so movie, but I like the BattleBot Adam from Real Steel.
Yep.
Not
I
so
agree.
movie, brother. Love Real Steel with every bit of my heart.
I do. I think we love it more if you're a parent. I think for some reason.
Rocky fan, like Rocky fan or parent, those two things, both of those things, and you probably love Real Steel.
Patrick says, yes, I really liked Ex Machina. I know it was an underrated film, but I enjoyed it. I don't think it was an underrated film. It got a lot of attention.
Yeah, I think it's acclaimed.
It's an independent film that got a lot of fucking
A24, man. Everything A24 does.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then Patrick again says, "Ooh, Mystery Science Theater was great." I didn't know that was a movie. I thought that was only
No, there is a Mystery Science Theater movie as well.
Yeah.
Okay, right on.
Just to go back to that, Ex Machina's got a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes and 89% of Google users like it, and it's got a 7.7 on IMDb. So it is well appreciated.
Have you ever gone back and watched Ex Machina from the perspective of the main character is actually the one taking the Turing test?
No, I've only seen it the one time. I got to go back and see it again.
I've never gone back to seeing Ex Machina.
Go back and watch Ex Machina from the perspective of the main guy, that the whole movie is actually his Turing test.
Interesting.
Well, it makes the second rewatch fucking glorious, and I love the movie already.
I was a little disappointed because I wanted to see him fuck a robot. I was like, we're not gonna see him fuck a robot? Like, I have my dick in my hand. I was like, what's going on? We're not gonna do this.
Oh, we're just going to talk? We're just going to talk? All right, whatever.
It's too early already. All right, let's go off with our number ones.
Round 1. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back.
Do it! Come on!
All right. Let me see here. Number ones. What do we got for number ones, Dave?
Stay on brand, Dave.
This should come as a surprise to no one. But my number one is Box from Logan's Run.
Not Terminator. Huh.
No, of course, man. No, it's the T800.
I was very confused. I was like,
yeah.
You had me nervous though, because I know you love Logan's Run, and Box didn't make your honorable mentions. You did a great job selling that joke because I was nervous as hell for a second.
I would have also accepted Gort from The Day the Earth Stood Still, and I would have been like, okay, that's on. I could see that. I could see that.
It's got to be the T800 for me. I was going back and forth between putting him at number 2 and the Iron Giant at number 1, and I kept going back on whether it was more of the emotional connection that I have with the Iron Giant or the nostalgia and the awesome factor of the T800. And ultimately, I got to give it to the T800 because there is an emotional connection there as well. At the end of that movie, when and I am speaking specifically about the T800 in Terminator 2. And I've gone on record saying the T1, I prefer it. But the T800 in T2 is in every way the better robot,
right.
I think.
Can I just say, I like the fact that you're like, I've gone on record of saying the T1 is better, is my favorite. Except in a mountain where it's about which robot is better than the T800. Like, what? That's
I like. He's like. I like my T800 not trying to kill a pregnant woman. That's the T800.
He wasn't pregnant yet, bro.
You don't know how fast his Kyle Reese's shit worked.
That's true. It's a great villain in T1, and I love everything about it, but for me, it's like Jeff was doing the thumbs up thing, when everything from the I know now why you cry, but that is something I can never do. That from that point on, the whole movie is, I mean, it has to have been filmed underwater, because I've never seen the movie, a version of that movie that wasn't filmed underwater. So I don't know if James Cameron has some sort of like third or fourth cut of the movie that's coming out, where my TV doesn't look wet, but
Dave thought that the T-1000 was in the entire rest of the end of the movie, like covering the entire screen.
yeah, I mean, everything
When
from
did this become the abyss?
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, he's learning to be human as it goes. You know, the scene in the car, you know, with John teaching him human sayings. You know, you don't say affirmative. You know, I fucking love it. You know, and some of the deleted scenes too, where you see him learning how to smile. You know, and then John's like, let's not do that anymore. Yeah. It's he's so fucking fantastic. To me, you know, I guess he will always be my favorite robot. You know, there's,
and I love how caring he is, where it's like, tell me something that your step parents only they would know. Yeah. They're dead. All right, let's keep going.
Your foster parents are dead.
That's one of my new favorite memes. I
The
love
meme,
that
so
meme
good.
so much.
Those memes are the best.
The D&D one where it's like, we have dice on sale. We have plenty of dice. Your foster parents are dead.
Oh boy. Yeah, it's fantastic, man. I like the T-800. Like I said, every Terminator is great. And I stand by what I said. I picked the T-1000, but even then, I acknowledge that I feel as if every Terminator gets better than the previous one, and I think you kind of have to do that, right? When you're making a movie, you can't make an inferior.
Also, by just progression, that's how robots work, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, right. That's what I'm saying. That's how technology works for a movie making. That's how movie making technology works too. Where you just like, oh, now we can also do this. Like it's
right.
Yeah. Like how dumb would the Terminator 8? It's a bomb sniffing robot. Like it just goes backwards.
It's on tank tracks, and there's just a fat dude controlling it while he sips the soda. Like,
He's just got a headset on. Come with me if you want to live.
He's going to Mars. He's at the Mars rover. It's a fucking T8. It just anyway.
This evil Terminator's coming to attack me, and it just goes.
It's just got the one arm.
The one arm that goes super slow and just opens and closes.
Yeah, I agree, man. You're right. That makes sense. All right, so Dave has a T-800. DeBono, what do you got?
I got to stay true to myself. This one was never in question. As soon as I was 100% sure that he counted, my number one was Roy Batty.
100% he counts.
Yeah. We've been over this on the podcast. David and I are never going to get away from Blade Runner. Roy Batty is not only my favorite android robot character in movies. Roy Batty is one of my favorite movie characters of all time. It's such a well done role from the very beginning to the mythos of Roy Batty as you read more and more about him, just getting outside of just kind of what exists in the movie. But it's such an amazing character, portrayed so beautifully by Rutger Hauer.
Only Rutger Hauer could play that role.
Only Rutger Hauer could have done that. And I mean, even if all you know about Roy Batty is the Tears and Rain monologue, then you still consider him for this list. If it's the only thing you know about Roy Batty. But when you get into that scene, just that scene, and he becomes that full ass blown Jesus allegory, and he pushes the nail through his hand, and he just accepts his role in the world, and his timer's up, and it's just everything about it's so good, from the scene in the Bradbury apartments to the rooftop. Just everything that Roy Batty does is so good. I'm forever so emotionally tied to that role. And the first time I watched Blade Runner, now I watch Blade Runner all the time, but the very first time I watched Blade Runner, the saving grace for me was Roy Batty. And I was like, the rest of this is okay, but like this guy's great. And the more I watch it, the more nuance I realize how I'm drunk. I realized how nuanced. Been a minute since I've been like this on here. Excuse me. Every time I watch it, I realize how more and more nuanced that movie is. But Roy Batty is that character who comes out of the box and is immediately like, here's who I am, here's what I'm about, and here's how we're going to do it. And it stays that way until the very last seconds that he's alive, when everything about Roy Batty changes. And you have that moment where you're like, he learned, he grew, he changed, he beat his programming, he became something better than what he was programmed to be. And ultimately, every robot on my list boiled down to that. They became something better and something more than they were originally programmed to be. And Roy Batty is the blueprint for how you do that. And there was absolutely no way. When I started this, I said, well, Roy Batty and C-3PO, there's my top and my bottom. How do I fill the middle? And there was never any doubt this is exactly where I was going to go.
There's this great exchange that he has early on in the movie. I mean, it's not early on because he doesn't show up until about halfway.
Right.
But where he says that all he wants is to live. He just wants to survive. And you watch the movie for the first time, and you think, okay, well, Harrison Ford is the hero, and he's the guy, Right. But the more I watch Blade Runner, the more I realize that Deckard's job is dirty, and he's catching these people indiscriminately, these replicants indiscriminately. And the majority of these replicants that are coming back to Earth are coming back to Earth for similar reasons that Batty is, and it's because they're coming back home, right? And there's this slave allegory as the slave catcher, as
the predecessor to, and then processor of cops, right? From before and after. It's the completion of what is police.
Right. And Batty is simply wanting to exist, and no one should be faulted for wanting to exist. And I think that the buildup of that over the course of the last, like 2/3 of the film, when you get to the Tears in the Rain monologue, is just it's perfect. And the more you watch the movie, the more you pick up on those nuances in his acting and the dialogue. I mean, the dialogue is just fucking fantastic. He's got all the best lines of the movie.
And absolutely every amazing line that people remember from Blade Runner is a Roy Batty line. He's cinematic perfection in robot form, and I just, like I said, there was never any. And like in our group chat, I was like, "Hey, does Deckard count? Okay, it does. Cool. Now I can put Roy Batty on my list."
Right.
All right. That's 5 minutes of talking about that movie again. If you've never listened to another episode, that was the first time for you, so enjoy it. That was great. All right. Jeff, what do you got for your number one?
Well, when you talk about robotic cinema perfection, you can't help but talk about Mr. Johnny Five.
There he is.
Cable.
Yes, Johnny Five.
Everything that you guys talked about, emotion-wise, getting emotional over Iron Giant, over any one of your picks. And Dave, I think the statement was like you've never had another robot in cinema history get you so emotional as this is Johnny Five. I cannot watch Short Circuit 2 without fucking crying, bawling when his battery fluids fucking leaks, tapes it up, and he's like, and then that fucking song, I need a hero.
So if you can get past the inherent racism of the entire movie because Fisher Stevens is not Indian,
that's only in part one.
Yeah, no, he's in part
two, and the entire part two.
I was gonna say it's just in the two movies. It's just in the two movies.
So are you saying that Los Locos won't kick your balls into outer space?
No, that's accurate.
That's correct. That's accurate. what I
It's
do.
the brown face. It's the brown face that is very. I didn't
And,
know.
the
and I
brown.
rewatched
Oh,
this
yeah,
movie
brown.
today. I rewatched part 1 today, and I
Oh,
was texting Neri, and I go, Neri, not only is he in brown face, but the entire time he's asking Steve Guttenberg, "Have you hooked up with this chick yet?" He literally tells him, "I have a Woody. Tell me more." Like he's literally
Yeah.
telling him. Like,
I rewatched that movie with my daughter, probably maybe a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, some whatever ago, and not too long ago, and probably December if I'm thinking about it. But yeah, it was. I didn't know he was brown face until I watched Master of None.
Mhm.
That was fucking recent. That was
Or
like 3 or
Hackers.
4 years ago.
In Hackers, he was not that color.
But I
Correct.
didn't know I didn't know the actor. I didn't know, like, to me, I thought that was an Indian character, an Indian actor for decades until I watched Master of None like 3 years ago.
And they made the
on
joke.
Master of None, the whole scene was about him talking about how that's brown face to a fellow Indian actor, and that Indian actor had no idea. And I was like, I'm just like that.
Yeah.
No fucking clue. And then I had to Google it. I'm like, this is something that he's making up. And I had to Google that shit. I'm like, this is a white man. Like, this
Yeah.
is
What?
This
This is a white man?
This is
But
racist as fuck.
so here's the thing with Johnny Five, and again, especially rewatching the movie, you talk about with Roy Batty how you start off with a certain programming, and then by the end you change. Obviously, he had some help with a lightning strike, but nonetheless, like Johnny Five starts off as one of 5. I think it was 5 or 6 robots that were meant to be military. And after he gets this lightning strike, he becomes it's weird. Even though he knows less about humanity than everybody else he runs into, he ends up being more human in most of those interactions than the humans that are involved in it. Because even the girl, I think it was Stephanie was her name in the
Yes.
movie. She
Stephanie.
Stephanie. And he did a little hit on her. He was a little touchy with her, but again, it's an 80s movie. But
The 80s.
yeah. So, she had her moments where she had this selfish humanity and stuff like that, and he was the one that was like, no, that's not how this is supposed to be. And he with Gutenberg went from, I just want my robot back so that I can reprogram it and keep going on with my life, to eventually, saying, oh my God, he is alive. He's right. And all these things he's teaching me about humanity. What was I thinking? And
I didn't have a problem with him getting touchy-feely with Stephanie, because this is the same time frame that a woman wanted to fuck a duck. So really, at
That's
this
true.
point,
That's true. You're not wrong. You're not
Also, a
wrong.
group of nerds just made a woman with their computer in the same time frame.
Mhm.
True.
So,
Does she count as a robot?
dude, I went back and forth on whether or not Weird Science counted.
Man, shit. But anyway,
Kelly LeBrock, right?
Kelly
Yeah.
LeBrock.
Yeah.
But
Oof.
I just
I was gonna say,
just
you
love,
keep saying woman, but I'm like, we're talking about Leah Thompson and Kelly LeBrock, and these are not just women,
yeah.
They're goddesses.
Are they not women to you, sir?
They are goddesses.
They've
sir.
superseded being just women.
Yeah.
Oof,
But
80
but
Kelly
to
LeBrock.
me, Johnny Five, you see him, and it's funny. Like, the other thing too with Johnny Five is that he's hysterical. Like, anybody that's a Three Stooges fan and ends up, in the first movie, he knocks out 3 of the robots and dresses them up with mud and leaves to look like the Three Stooges, and they come up and start doing the routine of the Three Stooges. And with him, the eyebrows that he has convey so much emotion
Yes,
that it's crazy.
That's those Johnny Five winked so that Wally could fucking show us emotion. How thievery that fucking Wally did. They were creating Wally, and they were like, "Hey, what's Johnny Five look like? Can you shrink him? Yeah, let's do that. Let's use that." Yeah, I am with you, bro. I love these movies. Part 2, I'm not exaggerating when I say I've not seen part 2 without crying. That end is fucking hard. Like, I've seen part 1 more, only because it's tougher for me. I know going into part 2 that I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get through this shit again, and it's just fucking brutal,
And
man.
you have the reuniting of Gutenberg and Captain Harris from Police Academy. because he's the bad guy, military guy in that.
Right.
And
He's like, are you gonna paint his eyebrows on him? That's just what I want you to do, man. But Johnny Five is fantastic. I and then at the end when he's fucking gold, when he's literally gold,
yes,
I'm like, good for you. And he fucking jumps up. I'm like, that's a lot because gold weighs a lot, so that's impressive.
well, his tracks defy any type of gravity in both of the movies.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the first one, when he's hiding underneath the truck and he climbs up, he literally does like a weird like and like tiptoes across his tracks out of the thing. Like,
hey man, you know, I have the same issue when I watch the original Terminator and I see Arnold Schwarzenegger skip onto the fucking sidewalk. I'm like, what the? He's what? Fucking glitch in your matrix? What the fuck happened to that?
and I love with Johnny Five that from the first movie to the second, he's like, I'm getting rid of the laser cannon.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have a toolbox.
I love the fact that when I was a kid, I hated that because I thought the laser was the coolest part about him. But I didn't like when I got older. You're like, no, that laser is for destruction. I'm not about destruction. I'm about life. I'm about living. And I thought it was fantastic. It was great. I love that. All right, so we have our number ones are T-800, Roy Batty from Blade Runner, and Johnny Five and Johnny Five. So our final mountain, we have Ultron, Iron Giant, and Johnny Five. So we need one more.
I feel like we need a Terminator on there since we had two different Terminators.
I agree.
Terminator's down for a Terminator pick.
Terminator's great. What else?
If I had to throw my weight behind a Terminator, I'm going to go with the T-1000 just because he's cooler.
I'm going to agree with you.
I'm just gonna say I'm just gonna throw a batteries not included, so I get a perfect mountain. But I know it's not gonna happen.
Honestly, I like Terminator and I like Baymax. I like both those things. I like the fact that Baymax is the only animated movie on here. But T-1000
Iron
Giant's animated, sir,
and is already on the list.
Yeah.
Also, I'm just going to remind everybody that Chappie exists because I forgot to say it during.
I have Chappie on here, but I was like, if nobody mentioned it, I don't want to. I'm not gonna throw in Chappie. I have it right here.
I've never seen it.
It's okay.
Oh, Chappie's good, man.
Mm-hmm.
I like drunk Debona. It's all right.
Like, Chappie's good. I'm going down to the docks to go place a bet on some horses.
Whatever, it's fine.
I mean, obviously my Terminator pick was T-800, but I mean, the T-1000 is fucking fantastic.
Man, I think the T-1000 is a dope pick. I do love that pick.
Yeah, I like that. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
All right, so T-1000. We're running long, so T-1000 it is. So final mountain is Ultron, Iron Giant, Johnny Five, and T-1000. Both Jeff and I were one shy of the perfect game. Thank you guys for checking us out. Make sure you check out the other podcasts on the Geek Bro Network, including Better Let Me Tell You, including the What's Up Bro podcast. That also records live on Facebook and YouTube. So make sure you guys go to geekbro.net and check that out. If you are on here, you can check out the audio version of Mt.Geekmore is available wherever podcasts are found, including geekbro.net, and also as well as the Helium Podcast Network at heliumpresents.com. Check out the Geek Bro Network, a dose of Ellie, and a Chow Like At Best with Mike Valdez. So make sure you guys check that out.
I appreciate that Patrick down here is drinking beers while we do it. That is very true to the origins of this particular podcast, and that drinking beer is very influential in how this show ever started.
But now we're upgraded to Scotch and bourbon.
But now we're adults, so we drink just booze.
Yeah.
So there you go. Thank you, Patrick, for checking us out. Thank you, Mike Mercadal, for listening in. Andrew Chacon, everybody who commented and chimed in. Thank you very much. Next time, get your friends, share the link. You guys have been a lot of fun. That's how lists are made. Peace.